On this episode of Did Y'all See, we're talking about whether or not children born to white women should be considered black, whether or not this mother should serve jail time after beating her children for breaking and entering, and a game of Who'd You Rather between Kyrie Irving and JR Smith. Get into all this tea on Did Y'all See. Welcome to another episode of Did Y'all See. We have some juicy topics this evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you're watching. So, ladies, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, first up is the Senate has recently passed a bill that would require women to register for the draft. So, y'all know our generation doesn't know much about the draft because it's never been an issue for us. But what do you think about the prospect of women having to register, and what do you think about the prospect of the draft coming back in general?
No, I had to look up some stuff because, you know, I feel like my stance really is like conservative feminism. I just don't want women to have to do it, but there really isn't like a logical reason that's not just based in sexism. You know, there's really no reason women aren't able,
Right.
You know, to serve. And so I was like, well, you know, suicide's an issue and sexual assault, you know, both of those are big issues in the armed forces, but actually men are affected by both more. You know, it's young white men under 30 that commit suicide more than anything, and actually, like in 2014, there were 1,000 more men who were sexually assaulted than women. So, you know, in a sense, it almost seems like women are more well-equipped, you know, kind of to deal with the struggles of service and battle and that sort of thing. So, what I would like is that nobody would have to do the draft. You know, if you want to serve, you sign up for that. No one should be forced. You know, I don't think so. Really, that's where I stand.
My only issue with the draft, and I know that our generation hasn't had to deal with it, but I definitely know in New York City, like around downtown Brooklyn, a lot of recruitment offices are around there, so they will try to recruit young black males to join the forces. And again, right now it is like a choice, but I just kind of fear that it's going to just be like, you know, people are being drafted, but it's really just people of color majority of the time. So that's the only issue I have, because I think it's another way just to get us all out, you know. That's just my opinion.
I just feel like if you're going to put your life on the line, you know, it should be voluntary. Right. If you ask me to go and be somebody's war, I'm going to just go to jail. And so, you know, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I agree. I think with everything everyone else has said, because I think you have to be a special person to sign up for something like that. And then the way the government is set up, they'll tell us we're fighting for one thing and it's really something else. So, I mean, I respect the military. I respect people who sign up for that. But again, it should absolutely be a choice. I just don't understand why it's even a conversation. Like, we saw how that played out in Vietnam. Right. And there was a whole documentary Michael Moore did, Fahrenheit 9/11. He talked about how even it's not people of color too. It's like it's not just people of color. It's people who are socioeconomically like disenfranchised. You know, they target those communities, because Flint, Michigan was one of the places where the military is like heavy. They're trying to recruit people, and so I know a lot of those people ended up losing their lives. So to me, the draft just seems like a way to send poor people of color over to the war. So I'm like, if we're going to talk about a draft, let's talk about, you know, rich people's kids being eligible to go over there and fight.
Absolutely.
So did y'all see this story about this mother? She's in Louisiana, and her children broke into their neighbor's house. And she found out, I think she might have caught them in the act, I'm not sure, but she found out one way or the other. And she beat them, disciplined them. And I think one child, she used like a cord, which is not uncommon in black households. And there was like small cuts and bruises or whatever. So the children called the police on their mother, which is also not uncommon. And the police arrested her. And she's out on bail, but she's facing charges of, you know, child abuse. So what do you guys think about the situation, the beating, the arrest, whether or not she should be charged, all of it?
It's comical. What do you mean? No, they're not getting reprimanded legally for stealing, but she's getting reprimanded because she's disciplining you, like, not to do that. And I understand, you know, certain people are like, oh, you know, you shouldn't use physical force upon a child, but like, clearly talking to them doesn't work. Like, I feel like they're not people who are just gonna be like, yeah, so-and-so sat us down and told us it was, like, you know it was wrong. So clearly you need to get your ass whooped. That's just...
You know, I don't know, because I'm like, beating is a strong word. And so, you know, when I read, I was like, they did have marks on them. Like, think she may have taken it too far with the physical consequences, you know, of what they did. I definitely don't think she should go to jail, but I'm like, there needs to be a 360 approach, you know, to this. I like using that word.
Right, I've heard that.
But because she might need a parenting class or some assistance with them, and they need to get their shit together. Because what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah. And I mean, and the calling on the cops, which I'm like, black kids, I feel like at one point in time didn't do that, calling the cops on their parents. So I'm like, but most of us knew not to do that. So I just feel like there needs to be like some mediation. And something like that, so that they don't end up in the system.
I mean, I don't know. My thought process is kind of like, well, I think it's a little too late for these ass whoopings. I mean, they didn't already go to somebody's house. So, I mean, people discipline their children however they feel like it, you know, is necessary. But I don't think there was a point in it, in that way. I mean, it wasn't going to stop them. They already did it. So, I mean, they're all at fault, you know, in general. So, but she definitely shouldn't go to jail. Depending on, I mean, I didn't get to see how, you know, extreme the bruises and things were on them, but I just feel like people gotta let people, you know, do with their kids what they need to do, as long as it's not extremely excessive. So, but she was, I don't know why she decided to whoop them severely after the fact. Like, you had, if they were breaking and entering into people's homes, like, chances are there was many trails before the fact that said that they were some badass kids.
And I think they're like 11 and 13
like
or something.
I thought these was grown.
No, they're young.
Are you serious?
So she knew they were bad. They were probably some hellions in the neighborhood.
Hey, you're not even successful, so this is not, they need to be up on Scare Straight or something.
She needs a whole new whatever. What do they say? It takes a village.
She
needs a whole new village.
Right. People need to really examine the situation from like all different angles, like you said. And I don't think she definitely doesn't deserve jail time.
No.
Because the thing is, black people, a lot of black parents beat their children with good intentions. It sounds crazy, but they beat their children so the cops won't end up killing you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, what's worse, like you getting a beating from your mother who you know loves you, or you ending up dead in police custody.
Exactly.
So I mean, I can see where she was coming from. It's just not. We need, black people as a whole need different discipline methods. You know, so parenting classes would be awesome. And those kids need something too.
Right, because it's also not going to be beneficial to take her out of the home and then they have nobody.
Right,
so,
exactly. So then what's going to happen?
It's got to be something better.
So for this week's Who Would You Rather, we're talking about the NBA champions, Cleveland Cavaliers. And the choices are between JR Smith and Kyrie Irving. Okay. So go ahead. It's so easy. What? Go ahead.
It's Kyrie.
Oh, okay.
Like, why?
Right, I wasn't expecting her to go that.
Because
I wasn't expecting that.
Because JR Smith just does so much. I just feel like he just does so much. So and after the whole, like, I mean, it was upsetting and very sad about the Kalani situation, but I just feel like Kyrie is just, oh my God, his skin, Jesus, and his eyes.
What? I also did my research on this subject because I heard Kyrie was out there in some skin-tight gray sweatpants yesterday. So on top at the parade.
Awesome. I need to see.
So I was like, let's go penis print to penis print. I mean, we talk about who would you rather.
Right. Go ahead, no shame.
And based on my research, I have to go with JR Smith because the eggplant print was pretty impressive. So that is my choice.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with JR Smith as well. Surprisingly, I really don't. He kind of something about all them tattoos makes him look a little dirty to me, but for the most part, in his face, he's attractive. Kyrie is okay. He just reminds me of somebody like, hey, Kyrie, like somebody singing in the neighborhood, hey, and then saying,
like, girl, I grew up with him.
Right, girl, I know him. Hey, girl, he dated my cousin. And I was turned off because I saw a video of him and like Iman Shumpert, and they were like singing, and they were singing like nursery rhymes, like Mary, Mary, why couldn't you? And they were dead ass serious. Oh my God. And that was so not attractive. So JR Smith for the win.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Kyrie because I think he's so cute. He has like a little boy face, but he's like, I feel like he's kind of be like one of those like quiet, unassuming types. JR Smith is just a little too sharp for me. I can't do the tattoos are too much for me, and JR Smith just looks like he would like hurt you in the process. it would just be super rough. I mean, that's why it was like, this dude hasn't put a shirt on since they won. Since they won the game. Baller Alert said that. So, I mean, JR is a little too rough around the edges for me. So those are our choices. Be sure to let us know who you'd rather in the comment section below. So, did y'all see, Crystal got into a bit of trouble on Twitter recently when she made some statements. First off, it all started with this white woman tweeting about basically having black men's kids and basically just being there for the dick or whatever. And so somebody was like, Crystal, like, get her, like, let her know. She was like, no, I'm not finna ride for black men because they don't stand up for us.
Right.
So it then went to like a whole discussion about black men and then interracial relationships and how they're going out of their way to sometimes choose white women. And then she said, and to you white women, I just want to let you know that your children will never be black. So, I mean, some people were like, afterward, people were like, Obama? And
Right.
she was like, well, she said, you didn't know President Obama is mixed? She's like, your children will be like mixed at best. And they were like, okay, well, you make sure when you shout out Malia and Sasha, you say mixed excellence instead of black excellence. And she was like, well, they're 3/4 black. And somebody was like, well, 75 cents don't make $1. So, so what do you guys think about the children of white women not being black?
I just think that's such an ignorant thing to say, and I think it's becoming more personal than it is objective. I feel like instead of just looking at it for what it is, she's bringing maybe she was rejected by somebody who ended up with a white woman, or maybe she saw that a lot on her college campus or a work environment, and she's just,
I don't know, because she's bisexual or lesbian or something.
Oh,
so.
okay, I just don't understand why some people like feel like they need to take away somebody else's identity. Like, why does it have to get to that level? That's why I feel like it's something personal when it happens. Because why are you mad?
You know, Carmen, she was trying to make a dig at white women for like fetishizing or whatever black men, but then you ended up, you know, being hateful toward people who are biracial, which is silly. I just think this is such a silly conversation we keep having about like your identity. What does it take away from you if somebody who is 50% black or 60 or 70 or whatever wants to identify as black? First, I mean, first, we can use all the help we can get. So if there's more people being proudly black, you know, fighting for the cause. We talked about people having issues with like Jesse Williams and Mandela, you know, all those people. They're black, they identify as black. You better believe white people see them as black. So we're the only ones still, like in this day and age, I think keeping up a lot of this colorism and racial, you know, discussions. Yeah, and I mean, we should be far past octoroon days and 3/4, you know, coming up with percentages and stuff like that. That makes no sense.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just always like, how can you identify like someone else?
Yeah.
You know, like you identify yourself as what you are. That's like somebody coming up and saying something about her being bisexual. Like, no, you're just really just confused. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, you know how you identify yourself. And you can't, you know, dictate how somebody else feels about themselves. And if they have a black, I mean, I've always been in the same mindset, even though when people said that, I don't like that, the one drop rule thing. But I think it's a good thing. Like, if you have any black in you, hey, you black. And there's nothing wrong with being black, no matter what people say. And it's just sad. I think, you know, she let her bitterness get the best of her because obviously she has an issue with black men and their dating choices and that, you know, whatever. We all have our opinions about it. But I would never go as far as to be like, you know, and let you know, your kids, your octamaroon, quadroon, whatever kids are not going to be black. And it's just like, when did you become the authoritative voice on blackness? Just because you host this little show, well, oh boy, it doesn't mean that that's what you are. So she just, you know, but this is what happens. I mean, people get a little voice, they get a little platform, and then, well, social media, you know, I've always said it's the worst thing to happen to people. But this is what happens, you get a little platform, and then you think you could just say anything, and people would just ride for it, and then people were quickly like, oh, hold up. We 75 cents.
We will turn on somebody.
Okay, it takes nothing. Ask all the rappers. Once in a time.
Because at your point, you were like, you just didn't even need to respond to that.
No, she didn't. I mean, the thing is, she apologized later. Well, I don't know if she necessarily apologized, but she said, you know, I realize that some conversations aren't necessarily for Twitter. But, yeah. So for this week's We See You, we're talking about a woman who created some very interesting hairstyles. So Lauren, you wrote the story, so go ahead and tell us about it.
So the woman's name is Shani Crow, or Shani. Shani is a naturalist, and she wanted to empower other women about their own braid story. So she has a beautiful photography exhibit in Mokata, and it's basically models who have very intricate braids, which represents different symbols in African religions, and then also just cool designs that we've created along the years through pop culture. So we see you, Shani, and thank you again for celebrating our hair.
So that's it for this week's episode of Did Y'all See? For more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/MadameNoire. Hey y'all, thank you for watching and supporting us every single week. For more Did Y'all See, click here. For celebrity interviews, here. And for our comedic series Relationship Hacks, click here. And as always, be sure to subscribe.